looking at the NSE and taking a look at where it has finished today, over that 5,000 marks, but finishing off on a flat footing. On the currency front, looking at how the Kenyan shilling is doing, 86.1 is where we finished off today, so almost 0.5% stronger. But to get an update on how the markets are doing, we are joined from our studios in Nairobi by Ronald Lugalia, who is the investment analyst at AIB Capital. Ronald, thank you so much for making the time to join us today. Can you quickly give us a brief overview of what the market's performance was like today?
Okay, thank you for having me on this show. Today's market activity improved significantly, based mostly because of the speculative investors trying to take a position before some companies announce their results tomorrow. Centum and Kenya Airways are set to release some of their figures tomorrow, so most investors have been speculating on those ones. But all in all, we also saw resilient foreign investor participation in our market, doing 49%, although they were balanced on both sell and buy side, but they were still strong in the market. And we also saw a strong activity number from local investors. But basically, if you look at the general sentiment in the market, it was just speculation among the airline industry. We also had speculation in the energy sector, but most investors, mostly institutional investors, are still in the market taking a hold position to see where the market shall be.
Ronald, you mentioned some speculation when it comes to Centum and Kenya Airways. Any speculation of your own? What can we expect from tomorrow's results?
I'll want to look at Centum. You realize that number is a counter that has really had has really received good noise, that has really taken the price to above 33.50 there, all the way from 24. Remember, from the previous earnings, their net asset value was 24.25. So most investors have been expecting some good growth in their earnings, given that number their growth options have been so much robust and strong. So most investors have been expecting good numbers. But I would really want to see how the figures will be tomorrow, because being an investment firm, you may want to be cautious on how you really look at the figures. On Kenya Airways as well, you remember they just released the operation performance figures last week, and most of them were not that good, given that now their market, their revenue from markets in Europe and Asia were not that encouraging. So most investors are still wary. But when it comes to trading per se, Kenya Airways today did 3.4 million, mostly on speculation, and the counter hit a high of 33.50, and and most investors were just taking a speculative point of view on it.
Let's just shift gears a bit and talk about the Central Bank of Kenya. We're seeing it at the moment looking to raise about 10 billion shilling over the next week. This is through a way of a 5-year bond. How do you think the markets will be reacting to it? Are they most likely to take it up quite easily in terms of subscription? And do you see investors perhaps moving towards these short-term debts, because we've seen the yields steadily increasing?
Okay, I tend to believe by moving towards the short end of the curve, it's just the central bank trying number to get as much as possible number from investors who are remember, it is just at the beginning of a new year, and a political cycle which coincides now with the economical cycle. 5 to 4 years is a period that number of investors would want to take in position right now. But with the increasing interest rates in Kenya, and if you correlate them now to the interest rate that number you would see in some of the developed countries like Europe and US, Kenya is still giving them a much better return than compared number to their home countries. And we've seen an increased foreign, direct foreign investment in this country, which has also been manifested by investors taking on the high price levels in the stock market. So I tend to believe it's going to be oversubscribed, and the enormous investment of funds in this country won't affect these asset classes like even equity.